And now, an 8th special presentation.
This time on Art Beat Nation. Meet a surfer dude turned skilled master craftsman.
One of the biggest challenges I think I face making the skateboards is to continue coming up with new designs.
Learn how creativity heals.
They'll discover that they truly are artists and that they're gifted.
Explore the sun-baked buildings of the Old West.
I've photographed an awful lot of buildings, and the ones that look back at me are the ones that are meaningful to me.
And brush up on your swing with a pro golf artist.
You can go to a golf course that doesn't have one tree on it in Scotland, and it's still beautiful.
It's all ahead on this edition of Art Beat Nation. Funding for Art Beat Nation is made possible by contributions to 8 from viewers like you. Thank you. To begin, we meet a Florida couple who turned to skateboarding when the Gulf waves proved too calm for surfing. And it wasn't just about the thrill for this daring duo. The two began crafting skateboards with such artistry that it wasn't long before their friends wanted boards of their own.
My name is Nick Lambesi. I'm a craftsman, and making skateboards is my art.
Longline Skateboards is a company that my husband and I started, and it just grew out of our passion for surfing, and which evolved into our passion for skating.
Growing up in Florida, we've always been around the water. We'd go out surfing, and I'll hang out in big groups and just be out there all together, and sometimes you can't go out surfing, so we started looking into these longer skateboards, and this gives you that surf ride, so took it to the street, surfed the sidewalk. I think I made my first skateboard when I was, I think around 9 or 10 years old. It took us probably 10 years of doing it to make that perfect combination of wood where not only was it flexible and strong in the same token, but also light.
No two of our skateboards are alike. Each one kind of has its own personality, and it's just, there's something about you have a product or a thing that no one else has. You know, there's definitely a cool feeling about that.
We press the wood together ourselves. It's a rough cutout, and all the boards are done in-house by hand. So all the sanding and everything is done by hand. And then staining or painting or anything like that. And we put them together and safely store them so they don't get all dusty in our very small shop, and away they go.
Nick's definitely a craftsman, you know, and he definitely has an artistic eye. You can't not have an artistic eye and make a skateboard that gorgeous, not symmetrical, and with all the details that he does.
I never really considered it an art, but I guess building the skateboards is kind of an art. You're coming up with you know, all the schemes and the painting. To me, they look like old surfboards. You're building something out of wood. You're shaping it, you're sanding it. Comes natural.
I think they're definitely pieces of art. A lot of people, some people actually buy them to just hang on the wall. Some people, they always tell us when they get the skateboards that they're almost too afraid to ride it because it's so nice. They don't want to scratch it. You know, it's kind of like your first drive in your brand new car. It's like, scratch is going to happen, but you're going to cry a little bit when it does. Every skateboard, I would have to say, is on a personal level, because every single one, there's not one square inch of the board that I haven't touched 50 times. You know what I mean? You're always trying to get every little mark right, all the lines straight. Yeah, it's definitely something I take very personal. He's so passionate about the process and everything that he does. And if it's not perfect, he's not done, you know? So it's just a great way for him to thrive in that passion. One of the biggest challenges I think I face making the skateboards is to continue coming up with new designs. You can't make the same old thing. So to always have a different shape and a different design and something that doesn't look repetitious, that's my biggest challenge. we've always been skating. You know, if there wasn't surf, then we would go skating.
Sometimes you get going real fast down steep bridges or something like that. It can be quite the adrenaline rush, like, you know, wipe any second that you make it, and then when you make it and everybody's watching and you're a star for a second, you know.
It's always just kind of been involved in our lives, and it just gives you so much freedom.
My inspiration for making the skateboards right now is just the fact that so many people are still into it. I thought it was always something that would fade, and it seems to grow more than anything.
The joy that I get to see on his face when he gives someone their skateboard and they start riding it, or he's out with his friends cruising around on boards, and just watching him watch them on board he made it's just so awesome for me. It's like awe-inspiring kind of feeling.
See, the thing that makes me the happiest is you're creating out of a couple of pieces of wood this skateboard that somebody's gonna take and use and go ride to see their friends, and they're gonna look at it and compare who's is faster, you know, who can do more tricks, and just the same thing that it brought to me when I was younger. Making them and getting them out there and selling them to other young kids, and it's you know, the next generation coming up, to see that all come to life again, that's an awesome feeling. That's why I keep doing it.
To learn more, visit longlineskateboards.com. Now we stop by Kettering, Ohio, where an arts center has taken up a rather compassionate task, rehabilitating the community's down and out. We Care Arts opens its doors to the most in need, offering instruction for the arts and for living a healthy life.
I don't always feel it immediately, but after I get a project done, there's a lot of self-satisfaction, and it gives me a feeling that I have some value, you know, that especially when something sells. I'm like, wow, that was great.
We Care Arts believes in the healing power of creating and producing art that transforms people's suffering from physical, emotional, and developmental challenges to have lives that are rich with possibilities. When you purchase things that our clients have made, you are buying a piece of their success.
Since 1983, We Care Arts has served over 8,000 individuals. The Berkeley Center on Wilmington Pike hosts the gift shop, where clients sell their handcrafted items, receiving a portion of the selling price to supplement their fixed incomes. In addition to teaching 75 artists monthly, We Care Arts teaches in 9 area high schools, numerous nursing home and rehab facilities, outpatient psychiatric programs, and adult day habilitation facilities.
We have answered the community's call for need. We're about the only organization that provides the skill and the quality of art program for special needs individuals in the area.
I'm a facilitator and a mentor, coach, instructor, confidant, friend, boss. All those things kind of wrap up. It's a pretty broken bunch, and we're all in there together. Just give it time. All of us are going to be disabled at some point in time if you stick around long enough.
Bruce is a very nice guy. He teaches me how to give your mind, how you get your mind on your work, and he showed me how to draw.
I have people tell me all the time that if they weren't coming here, they wouldn't go out of their apartments, that they had nothing, they didn't have any friends. We also have mental health patients tell us that after coming here, they weren't at the hospital so much for their mental illness and med changes and breakdowns. So it's a healthy environment, and it's a safe place where everybody's accepted, no matter what you got.
Pictures are a reflection of what's in a person's soul. So when someone is challenged and been pretty much knocked down in life, and they're not successful in lots of stuff because of all those different challenges in their life, it's really hard to believe in yourself. It's really hard to think that what you have inside of yourself is really great. And here at We Care Arts, we believe that with everything in us, that every human being has something to offer, and they're beautiful, and what they can put down on a piece of paper, whatever it is a reflection of who they are, and they get so excited.
The team provides artistic and supportive services to meet the creative and social needs of the clients. This caring and safe environment frees people to engage in creative expression. Feelings of isolation and depression dissipate, and meaningful life returns.
What does this person need? Sometimes it's social skills, sometimes it's art skills. What we're trying to do is give them both art skills and life skills so that they can take these life skills and they can apply them. They can go out and get work, they can go back to school, they can enter back into relationships, which happens. They will enter back into relationships after they've been broken. They will enter back into work after they've been crushed. They will continue with their art. They'll discover that they truly are artists and that they're gifted.
Art is not going to be for everyone, but for those that it is for, it really touches them deeply and gives them some power to encourage, to transform themselves, to start over, to get back on their feet, to create an existence for themselves where they can be happy and content, and they've got something to live for and something to fight for. It's a pretty big deal for some people.
We have teachers here that believe in the human spirit and believe that everyone needs just a hand up sometimes, and we just provide those steps so that they can feel good about themselves. They have life goals as well as art goals, and so they are working specifically towards something.
I always listen to music because it helps me focus. So I use that to keep my body calm and trying to get I have a problem with talking too much, so I have to listen to music.
I have folks who come in and they might have been draped in that victimhood, and they've been schooled, they've been programmed, they believe that they're broken, they can't do it. And my goal is, if you can get up and you can go get your water, go get your water. If you know where the paintbrushes are, go get the paintbrushes. If you don't know where they are, I'll walk you through, I'll show you. You know, it's that kind of that story where if you teach a man to fish, they can feed themselves forever.
I love how art makes me feel when I finish something, even if it's not all that great. I still have it down on paper. It makes me feel good. And so I like to share that feeling with students. That's why We Care Arts got started, not so I could raise money, believe me. It was because I loved art and I love making people feel good about themselves. I like to see people succeed.
Art has that ability to connect. It fuels something deep inside somebody. When they create something, nobody can beat it out of them, nobody can, steal it from them. And that can be grown and that can be, encouraged. You see people change. That's the cool part about doing this stuff. And the blessing, of which I am greatly appreciative.
For more information, visit WeCareArts.com. Next, we sit down with New Mexico photographer Robert Christensen, who has spent 4 decades capturing the fading face of the Old West. Christensen's photographs are like miniature time capsules, waking nostalgia in even the most dispassionate viewer.
I never set out to document old architecture around New Mexico. I stopped and photographed buildings that I reacted to. or responded to internally. And if I could get a print that would bring that out, then it was a success. If I couldn't, then it was just another picture of another building. To me, these photographs are all individuals. I know if you look at them at a group, there's a consistency of perspective and tonality and all, but to me, each building is an individual, and I can remember standing there taking the picture of every one of those. After my GI Bill ran out, I got a job driving a produce truck for a greenhouse down in Tomei. And that took me all over the state. And I have to admit, at some point I started cheating on my routes a little bit and getting creative with getting from point A to point B just so I could go through different small towns and take different routes. Paul Strand was one of the photographers who really influenced me. He did a lot of portraiture. In fact, he worked in New Mexico a lot. He said something to the effect that a good portrait leaves the viewer feeling as though they know the subject. They have met them, even though they never have met them. In other words, a portrait is going to say something about that person more than just what they look like. And that's what I'm trying to do with these buildings. I've photographed an awful lot of buildings, and the ones that look back at me are the ones that are meaningful to me. I think these places, as much as anything, reflect the personalities of the people who made them. It's a lot different now with all the building codes. Buildings are starting to take on a similarity that you just lose that kind of character. There's a gas station down in Dexter, Wortman's Super Service, and it was run by John Wortman for a lot of years. I took the photograph in 1977. From what his son says, one day he decided he was going to retire, so he closed up same as always and went home and never went back. Well, back in the mid to late 90s, Bud took me over to that gas station, and we walked around inside, and it was like stepping through a time portal, because nobody had touched anything in that gas station in 20 years. There were still candy bars under the counter and cigarettes in the rack on the wall, fan belts and cans of oil all over the place. It was like a little museum. One particular photograph that I took of some garage doors in a little adobe garage down in Belen. This young man had painted a bucolic scene on the front of it. It was starting to get kind of weathered. That was Florencio Chavez who painted this. Well, he was a young man that had some mental disabilities. He was hearing impaired. So he painted a lot of buildings around Valencia County. And apparently the family had no record of these. He died when he was 33. And the family and I made contact, and of course I was happy to give them copies of the prints because that's the only record they had of his work. And that building now is an auto parts store. I mean, the building is gone. The site is an auto parts store. The Joy Drive-In marquee. I was just driving through Barino, one of my creative routes in that produce truck, and I saw it, and it's one of those things I called a brake slammer. Just slammed on the brakes, whipped out the camera, grabbed one frame, and drove off. It says to me so much about New Mexico, with the Spanish language films, and just really, it draws me in whenever I look at it. I could almost see all the local Spanish families in their 1930s and 1940s cars driving in there for their weekend treat. In the time when these buildings went up, I think there was also almost a necessity for people to design their own ways of surviving. There weren't a lot of jobs, so well, let's go open a store and we'll sell some groceries, or we'll sell beer or whatever, and we'll make our money that way. So yeah, there was a definite sense of independence. The people in the small villages, they are a reflection of these places. That's where the villages came from. That is their history. And these places say as much about the people behind them as they do about my response to the buildings.
For more of his photography, visit rcphotonm.com. In our final segment, we drop by the California studio of artist Jim Fitzpatrick, an amateur golfer turned golf artist who travels the world to recreate scenes from the green. Join us now as we hear from Fitzpatrick about the joy of doing what he loves.
Jim Fitzpatrick loves to paint, and he loves everything golf. His passion for the game and his artwork have taken him around the globe to see beautiful golf courses, meet professional golfers, and illustrate golf stories for the rest of the world to enjoy.
The part I like most about golf, the beauty and the variety. My goodness, you can go to a golf course that doesn't have one tree on it in Scotland, and it's still beautiful with the gorse blooming, etc. Then you can go to Monterey and you have the beautiful cypress trees.
Jim's journey to become a professional golf artist started 30 years ago. His dream was to capture and tell stories through artwork, and that's exactly what he's doing today, revealing his experiences from the PGA Tour. As Jim traveled the globe, he learned about course designs and also made friends with some famous golfers he met along the way. Golfers like Arnold Palmer, Dave Stockton, Jack Nicklaus, and Peter Jacobsen. Jim's journey wasn't all about meeting some of golf's greats. He was drawn in by beautiful courses, especially those in Northern California.
Hey, this is my favorite hole in golf, 16 at Cypress. When they were considering having the Crosby here, a lot of the people on the committee said, we can't play Cypress Point. The amateurs can't hit it over the water. That's too hard of a hole. So Bing says, you know what? What if we just go out and play, and we'll talk about it. So anyway, this group goes out, and they get to this hole, and Bing Crosby makes a hole-in-one and says, I don't think the hole's that hard.
Here you'll find more than 200 pieces of artwork. Each painting transforms the course to the canvas.
You can paint someone without having a photograph of that person right there. So maybe a famous person has played there 50 years ago or helped in the design or whatever. And if you find a photograph of that person anywhere that would fit that scene, then I hand paint them in there.
Through his art, Jim's learned more about the players and courses. Jim's style of art is called Enhanced Giclée. It's a style that's becoming more popular among art collectors. The technique allows Jim to customize his pieces by actually placing people or objects into his artwork.
I really love the stories that are the backdrop of these pieces that have been told to me by famous players and everyday players.
For more arts and culture, visit azpbs.org/artbeat, where you'll find feature videos and information on the Arizona art scene. Funding for Artbeat Nation is made possible by contributions to 8 from viewers like you. Thank you.